Welcome to Module 16, Lesson 2. In this lesson, our I can statement reads, I can represent the product of a whole number and a fraction as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. Okay, so we're still working on finding multiplication with fractions and using our unit fraction to help understand that. All right, let's take a look at this problem. Jessie is part of a snowboarding team. It takes 3/10 of an hour to take the ski lift to the top of the mountain. While preparing for a competition, Jessie takes the lift to the top of the mountain 4 times. How much time does Jessie spend on the ski lift? Represent the problem using fraction strips. Draw a visual representation of your fraction strips and solve. So if you have fraction strips available to you, you can use those now. If not, we'll draw them out. So we know that it takes 3/10 of an hour just to take the ski lift to the top of the mountain. So in order to show that, we're going to show our 3/10. Each of these is 1/10. Now, Jessie does this 4 times. So we need to show our groups of 3/10 4 times. Okay, and each of these is worth 1/10. Go ahead and pause the video if you need any more time to finish your drawing. Letter A asks us, how can you write an equation using a unit fraction to show how much time it takes for one ski lift ride? We know that one ski lift ride is equal to 3/10. How can we write an equation using a unit fraction to show this? Well, we know our unit fraction is 1/10. So we can write our equation as 3 times 1/10. So how can we use this equation, 3 times 1/10, to write another equation to model the time for 4 ski lift rides? Well, we have 4 ski lift rides, and each of those ski lift rides takes us 3 times 1/10 of an hour. Now, I know using associative property, I can do this with my parentheses. And I can multiply 4 times 3 first. If I multiply 4 times 3 first, I'll get that this is 12. I'm going to go up to my green box over here with a lot more space. Times 1/10, right? I have 12 groups of 1/10. This will give me the answer of 12/10. Okay, I can also regroup this and rename it as a mixed number. 12/10 is equal to 10/10 plus 2/10, or 1 plus 2/10. So 12/10 is equal to 1 and 2/10 hours. Pause the video if you need any more time. Okay, let's take a look at our second problem. Ulrich is training for a race. He runs without stopping for 2/3 of an hour each day for 4 days. How many hours does Ulrich train together? Use the number line to show how many hours Ulrich trains by finding multiples of 2/3. So we know that our first multiple of 2/3 will be 2/3. We're going to jump 2 on the number line. What it's asking us to do on this number line is fill in what these jumps would be. So go ahead and fill in what those multiples would be. Go ahead and pause the video if you need any more time to fill this in. So you should have filled in 4/3. 6/3 was already filled in for you. And then 8/3 was the last one. What multiplication equation can we write to model this problem? Well, we know that he trains for 4 days, and each hour he spends 2/3 of an hour. So he spends 4 groups of 2/3 of an hour. Well, we know from looking here, that's equal to 8/3 of an hour. So how long does Ulrich train? He trains 8/3 of an hour, 8/3 hours, or let's rename that 3/3. I can regroup more because I have 5/3 left. Okay, now I have a total of 6/3 plus 2 more. Okay, so this is equal to 2 and 2/3. 2 and 2/3 hours. So how could we write an equation to model this problem using a unit fraction? Well, the first thing we need to do is find our unit fraction in 2/3. How do we write this as a product of a whole number and a unit fraction? Go ahead and write that. Okay, so you should have written that is the two factors are 2 and 1/3. Right? So 2/3 is equal to 2 times 1/3. So if we wanted to write this as an equation using a unit fraction, we can do what we did in the last problem. 4 days times hour 2 times 1/3. We can regroup this and use our associative property to multiply first and have it as 8 times 1/3. All right, go ahead and solve the check understanding. Press pause and press play to check your work. All right, let's go ahead and check your work. For this first problem, we multiplied our 4 batteries times 3/4 pound of each battery. We found that we got 12/4 pounds of batteries, or when we renamed that as a mixed number, 3 pounds. So there are 3 groups of 4/4 and 12. For number 2, 5 times 3/4 is equal to 15/4. When you regroup 15/4, there's 3 groups of 4/4 and 1 group of 3/4. So we get 3 and 3/4. 3 are multiple. Our first row multiples of 3/8 are 3/8, right? This would be 1 times 3/8. 6/8, 2 times 3/8. 9/8, which is 3 times 3/8. And 12/8, which is 4 times 3/8.